Hello and welcome to the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. The championship is at fever pitch here at Snetterton in Norfolk. Cold, greasy conditions for Luke Herbert, our championship leader, on pole position. But the reigning champion, James Blake Baldwin, is trying to catch him and in good form this weekend. So, we're going to have 3 cracking races.
Yes, we are. Thanks very much, Jake. This is going to be a very entertaining weekend of racing and possibly a really important one, because look at that, just 4 points separate Luke Herbert and Tom Roach at the top of the table, but it is Luke who has out-qualified Tom for this first race. Liam Murphy and Johnny Greensmith in quite a close battle for third as well. Here's how they line up then for the first of 3 races around the full-length Snetterton 300 circuit. It is Luke Herbert on pole position with James Blake Baldwin alongside him. Tom Roach there on the inside of row 2 then, so he's not too far back, and Steve Roberts continues his good form for Moulton Park in 4th. Brian Chandler, Jack Harding are on the 3rd row, 4th row for Liam Murphy and Ben Short. Jake Bailey and Aidan Hills round out the top 5. Mike Comber there on row 6, one to watch for, and Will Stacey further back on the 8th row with a good effort as well. Adam Bessel and Nick Dunn just inside the top 20, as are Jeremy Crook and Mark Home, whilst Will Sharp is just outside of that top 20 in his second meeting in the series. Once more, it is a very busy grid indeed, and towards the back of the field, one car to keep an eye out for is Johnny Greensmith. Johnny Greensmith changed his car after qualifying, so he has to start right from the back of the grid. So this is going to be a very important first race. There is Luke Herbert then. It's an all blue front row. Luke in the number 50 car on pole position. James Blake Baldwin alongside him, but watch for the green rocket ship of Tom Roach from row 2. The red lights go out. Away we go. Brilliant start from Luke Herbert from pole position. James Blake Baldwin is away okay. He should be able to slot through into second position, but Luke Herbert with a brilliant jump. Blake Baldwin fighting back at him though as they go down towards Richardson for the first time. He can't do it, but are blocking up from a few cars further back. Let's hope we get the whole 38 car field through the first corner in one piece. Looks like we will, and then down towards the Wilson hairpin, one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit. On board now with Sam Tatler, looking ahead at the leaders, looking behind at the very frenetic midfield battles that are going on, running out wide over the curb, not too wide though, otherwise you'll be exceeding the track limits and possibly getting yourself a time penalty. Jack Harding, that is, in the white and blue car, getting pinned in the middle. That is not really a nice place to be. He's going to lose several positions as a result. Sam Tatler will go through. Ben Short there in the black and orange car to the outside line also went ahead of Jack Harding, so Jack Harding in his fight for third in the championship not going that well, but he's back up the inside now down towards Agostini. Tatler though turns across to the inside. Where is Jack Harding? He's to the outside now, so he went to the inside, back to the outside, a wheel to wheel again now down towards Hamilton, and Harding goes back through. Brilliant driving that from Jack. Oh, but he runs wide, so too does Ben Short. They're both going to rejoin the track on the inside line, but with dirty tyres, and also running the risk already of attracting the attention of the clerk of the course. It's a very hectic first lap. Now getting squeezed wide is Tatler, so that's Liam Murphy and Gary Townsend going through, and Tatler now goes even wider again through the right-hander onto the back straight and will lose several more positions. So a very busy first lap for Sam Tatler, and you could see there just how frenetic it gets in the midfield. At the front of the field though, it is hardly quiet either. A bit of contact there between Luke Herbert and James Blake Baldwin. The wing mirror gets folded in on the reigning champions car, but those two and Tom Roach just starting to make a slight break now from Steve Roberts in 4th. Luke Herbert really having to go defensive down towards the bomb hold, runs wide on the exit as a result. That gives Blake Baldwin a chance up the inside down towards Coram. Is he going to go through into the race lead? They're wheel to wheel through one of the most daunting corners in British motorsport. On board now with Luke Herbert, the championship leader. He'll have the inside line for Murray's, but it matters little because Blake Baldwin has already gone through. So it is James Blake Baldwin, the reigning champion, out in front. Herbert second, Roach third, Roberts there in 4th, and Brian Chandler is in 5th place, having a really good run this weekend. He qualified 5th and he's managed to maintain position on the first lap. On board then down towards the first corner with number 88 car there briefly of Colin Bysouth. The leaders though are side by side again, and Herbert to the outside is at risk of getting hung out to dry here. His big championship rival Tom Roach is up the inside and he's going through, and Steve Roberts could do likewise as well down towards the Wilson hairpin. Herbert is very late on the brakes. Can he manage to go right round the outside? He'll have the inside line for Palmer's if he can, but no, he gets edged out wide, loses traction, and Roach will go through. Now where is Roberts and where is Brian Chandler? They're both around here somewhere, but Herbert, you just caught a glimpse of the cars behind him in his mirror, was able to take the normal racing line into the left-hander, so he slots through into third place, runs a bit wide on the exit now, down towards Agostini. Almost every corner on this circuit seemingly is a potential overtaking opportunity, and behind, look, Steve Roberts has had a moment, because Brian Chandler's gone through, and bang! Contact there with Aidan Hills. Aidan Hills went down the inside, locked up, and unfortunately Brian Chandler was the innocent victim there. He's stranded now, pointing the wrong way in the middle of the road, and Brian, who was having a really good run here at Snetterton, unfortunately his first race is not going to end the way he hoped it would. Now, this is the battle between Steve Roberts and Jack Harding and Ben Short as they turn through Oggies and up towards the right-hander onto the Bentley Straight, and looks like Harding, who was trying to gain the place there, has been unable to do so, and so Liam Murphy now gets a good run on him, pulls into the slipstream down the back straight, the longest straight in British motorsport. We're back on board with Sam Tatler, who's still got plenty of people to dice with, hasn't he? Look, you can see there the effect of the slipstream as he closes in on Gary Townsend. Behind us is Carl Garnett, and Tatler on the inside line into Brundle, I think is going to go through. That was pretty much a textbook move here at Snetterton. Get the slipstream down the back straight, get to the inside into Brundle, make the move stick before you turn right into Nelson, and then on your way. So Sam Tatler now with a bit of clean air in front of him. Be interesting to follow his progress through this race and see if he can get any further up the field. Down towards Coram he goes. Through Coram are the race leaders, and it is now a three-way fight for the lead because of the dicing that was going on behind. Some of those shenanigans have just allowed the top three to break clear now. So Blake Baldwin and Roach, the two big rivals from last year, of course, and Luke Herbert, Roach's big rival in 2017, right with them as well. Across the start-finish line they go, hugging the pit wall. Then they drift out to the outside of the road for the traditional racing line into Riches. No one making a move inside the top three. Behind, though, it looked like Aidan Hills was trying to recover from his contact with Brian Chandler half a lap ago and was moving back through into fourth, I think. Has he made it stick? No, not quite. Steve Roberts just about hanging on, but that's another really nice dice going on, look, isn't it? 5 cars together, and launching up the inside is Ben Short. He's going to get past Aidan Hills, and Aidan is in danger of losing more places here because he's been hung out to dry. He's out on the dirt, and now Jack Harding is alongside him as well. Side by side into Palmer's, inside line for Aidan Hills, outside line for Jack Harding. And let's see what order they come out of the corner in. It is Jack in front, so nice move that from Jack. Opportunistic, saw what was happening in front of him and took full advantage. Leaders down into Agostini, no one making a move there, but they're all very close together, and with the long straights that we've got here and the big braking zones at Snetterton, it means that overtaking is not easy exactly, but it certainly presents lots of opportunities to try and get through with the slipstream effect down the straights, and then plenty of opportunity for out-braking manoeuvres at the end of them. It's sense that any one of these three drivers can still win the race. James Blake Baldwin just missed the apex there through Oggies, didn't he? And so Tom Roach just closed right in onto his tail, and this is the perfect part of the circuit to close in on somebody because we're going on to that long straight, back straight, down towards the Brundle and Nelson complex. This is an opportunity for the slipstream to possibly pull Tom Roach through into the race lead. Luke Herbert has a grandstand view of this, down the straight underneath the Snetterton bridge they're about to go. Roach isn't yet pulling out of line though, so I think for the time being he's content just to run in second place and let the race come to him maybe. Through that part of the circuit now comes the fight for fourth place. They're all still together, aren't they? Look, Roberts from Short, from Harding, from Hills and Liam Murphy. And Jake Bailey not far behind them now either in the black number 14 car. He's just starting to bridge the gap. Look, there he is, the 6th car in the picture, but he's not that far away from the fight for fourth, is he? Through Coram they go, back on board meanwhile with Luke Herbert, and you can see the cars moving around under braking. That's such a difficult part of the circuit because you're braking and you're turning right, and then you've got to flick it back to the left again for the final turn at Murray's. It's very easy to lose the rear of the car there. Tom Roach, though, demonstrating his brilliant car control there, managing to keep it pointing vaguely in the right direction, but he's now got under pressure from Luke Herbert. Herbert's found a gap on the inside line into Riches. Oh, there was barely room, but he goes through. That is how much Luke Herbert wants to win this championship this season. That was a really committed move, but they're still side by side, I think. Luke is looking to his left. Roach must be around here somewhere. Look at the lead that's given James Blake Baldwin. It is now Herbert through into second, but Roach won't be too pleased about that. He must have thought he had that line defended, but there was just about a Mazda MX-5 size gap on the inside, and Herbert fitted through absolutely perfectly. It was squeaky clean, there was no contact, but it was a very, very aggressive bit of driving that from Luke Herbert, but that's what it's going to take. There are only 4 points between these two as we now go into the second half of the season. It's vital, every point is important, and any opportunity that Luke has to beat Tom Roach, he has to take it, and vice versa. So this is going to be a really interesting battle now, I think, for the remainder of this race. James Blake Baldwin has pulled away a little bit, Now, if Herbert and Roach were to work together, they in theory would be a bit quicker than James Blake Baldwin. Two cars working together on a high-speed circuit like this should be quicker than one running around on its own. But are they going to be willing to work together? Is Tom Roach going to want to retaliate here and get this second place back? I suspect that might be the case. Through onto the back straight we go again. And Roach not quite close enough actually to attack for the time being, is he? The slipstream will bring him back onto the tail of Luke Herbert by the end of the straight, but he's not really going to be close enough to attack. Behind them, have we had any shuffling in the order? I don't think we have, but there is a move possibly on there for Liam Murphy. Look, he was attacking Aidan Hills. Down the straight they go, the blue and orange car together. Murphy on the inside, Aidan Hills on the outside, sweeps wide for as quick a line as possible into Brundle, but the inside line prevails for Liam Murphy, so he moves up a place. Working his way through the field quite nicely actually is Liam Murphy. Started 7th, so he must have dropped some places on the initial start. He's now worked his way into 8th position again. Excuse me, into 7th place. Aidan Hills is 8th, Jake Bailey is in 9th. So Liam back where he started, but it's taken him the vast majority of the race to get there, unfortunately. Down into Murray's they go. On to another lap of the full-length Snetterton 300 circuit. Expecting to get about 9 laps in, I reckon, over the 20 minutes duration of the race. Somebody being warned for exceeding track limits. That's what that black and white warning flag is. But let's hope it's not one of the leaders. Down into Riches we go. Well, Jake Bailey there, you can see with a bit of bodywork flailing in the wind. The sort of dark blue number 14 car, the rear bumper actually peeling away on both sides. Whether that was from contact, I'm not too sure. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? Because remember that gap that James Blake Baldwin had built up over Luke Herbert and Tom Roach? It is diminishing rapidly, so we once more, I think, before too much longer, are going to have a 3-way fight for the lead going in to the latter part of this first race of the weekend. Half a lap to go in the first Mazda MX-5 SuperCup race of the day here at Snetterton. Luke Herbert takes the lead away from Blake Baldwin, but he locks up. Onto the grass goes Luke Herbert, the championship leader in trouble. Oh, Blake Baldwin's off as well. They both slide back onto the road. Herbert has the lead, but look at what's going on for second. Roach has gone through, and so too has Steve Roberts. Now, Luke Herbert took a big shortcut there across the grass. That may be looked at after the race, or is he slowing down? I think Herbert's slowing down. He's trying to redress the situation, I think, but of course, it's Roach in second place. Does he give the place away? Only 4 points separate these two in the championship, remember, in Herbert's favour. If he lets Roach through, that could prove crucial. Roach's got to run anyway, side by side out to the final corner, and yes, he is. He's waving him through. Luke Herbert, the sporting thing to do, and Tom Roach is going to come through. Is he to win the race? It's going to be very close indeed. Tom Roach on the outside line. It's almost a photo finish, but it is Tom Roach. Tom Roach wins the first race here at Snetterton. What a dramatic conclusion that was. The top two, Luke Herbert and James Blake Baldwin, were side by side down the back straight on the final lap, dicing for the lead. Herbert went through, they both outbraked themselves, they went across the grass, and it's Roach who benefits, and that will bring Tom Roach now virtually on level points with Luke Herbert. So Roach wins, Herbert second, 31 thousandths of a second between them. Steve Roberts in third, Blake Baldwin dropped to fourth after that last lap moment with Jack Harding fifth, then Ben Short, Liam Murphy, Jake Bailey, Sam Tatler, Carl Carlin round out the top 10. Mike Conver there in 11th. Johnny Greensmith looked 13th from the very back of the grid. He started 38th. That's incredible. The rest of the field scrolling through. We got the vast majority of cars actually to the end of that race. Brian Chandler we saw punted into a spin while he later retired. So too did Oliver Bowen, and Aidan Hills was excluded for the contact with Chandler.
Tom Roach, how about that? What an amazing start to the weekend. That was literally down to the finest inch.
Yeah, what a brilliant race. Such a great circuit for racing on. It's so difficult to defend around here. If you go to the inside, you can go around the outside of somebody, and it's brilliant fun. Luke and James were a bit quicker than me, to be honest, but they kept catching each other and then fighting and letting me catch back up. And then, obviously, last lap, James had kind of got past Luke, but Luke didn't give it up, and they both went straight on. I thought, I'll have both of them now, and then Luke obviously knew he gained an advantage, so lifted and let me pass.
Luke, second position by 0.031. That must be so frustrating when the battle was so intense on that last lap.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I had the pace to win the race comfortably, but Mazda race will be a Mazda race, and the drivers we've got in this championship, the standard is so high that no one's going to let you win easy. So got to the front, and on the last lap, I didn't realise it was the last lap, so I wasn't paying attention to the board. I was paying attention to a blue bumper in my mirror. I defended down the main straight into the left and the right, and James went to the right of me, and I'd overtaken him the previous lap round the outside there, so I knew he was going to try and do it back to me. Brake really late, too late, straight on, over the grass, and I had like a 5-second lead in front of everyone, so I thought the only fair thing to do is to give the lead up, because I wouldn't have kept the lead anyway, so I let Tom Pine handed him the win, and hopefully the officials won't penalise me too bad then.
My goodness, you gave as good as you got. You were ready for that right to the end.
Well, yeah, it's the front. I think Luke and James had a lot of pace after qualifying, so I knew I'd just be hanging on really. So that's what I did, and I mean, I'm just glad to finish the first Mazda race of a weekend, because every weekend so far this season I've managed to crash first race. So it's nice just to have a battle with the lead group, and then towards the end they were knocking pieces out of each other, so it allowed me to be the scavenger, and I picked up a podium, so I'm pleased, very pleased.
Hopefully there's 2 more tomorrow.
Yes, definitely. Now I'll be going for the win now. I've got the podium offer on the record books.
Good job, Steve. Well done.
Well, that was a dramatic first race, and we've got 2 more to go. They start this second one the way in which they finished the first one, so it's Roach and Herbert, 2 championship leaders on the front row together. Steve Roberts, after his first podium, was on row 2 with James Blake Baldwin. It's Hardy and Short next in line. Johnny Greensmith, definitely one to watch here. Been having a really good season so far this year. New car, started from back in race 1, worked his way to 13th. What can he do in race 2? Also a few drivers who struggled in the first race a little bit further down the order. Mark Home, one to watch for, I think, on 15th row of the grid. Car number 100, he dropped down the order a little bit in the first race. And also behind them, of course, 2 definitely to keep an eye out for, the 2 that tangled in race 1, Brian Chandler and Aidan Hills. Chandler retired, Hills was excluded from contact, so they could be 36th and 38th on the grid respectively. So, waiting for the lights to go out then. Race number 2, here it's Snetterton, gets underway now. Who makes the start for the front row? It's fairly even, I think, between Herbert and Roach, but it's Roach, remember, who has the inside run down towards Richards for the first time. Who's going to get there first? It's Herbert. Herbert starts this season, have been very good, haven't they? And Luke has taken the lead then, Roach second. Roberts just, I think, squeezed his way through into third position, didn't he? There's David Henderson. No, and there's trouble, and that's James Blake Baldwin involved with Mike Comber. Mike Comber's in the barriers, but James Blake Baldwin was going slowly as well, so I don't know whether the 2 of them made contact, but it certainly knocked them both out of contention early on. Well, drama straight away. We've got them all safely through the first corner in race 1. The same, sadly, can't be said of the second race. So Sam Tatler we're back on board with again, down towards Palmer's. We're running in, I think, about 7th place here, aren't we? Just behind Jack Harding, Ben Short and Liam Murphy, who were all part of a titanic battle for 4th place through the majority of race 1, but it is Herbert that leads. It's Roach in second. It's Steve Roberts again going with him in third. Got his first podium, remember, in the first race. He wants another couple, or possibly even a race win, as he said after the first race yesterday. There's Gary Townsend making a move up the inside of Colin Bysouth down into the Agostini hairpin. A few running wide further back. Simon Fleet, I think that was, running a bit off the track in the number 21 car. On board with Colin Bysouth now. Look, the number 88 machine. Down towards Oggie's, bit of a crack in the windscreen from where he's either had contact or run over a curb at some point. That is Townsend in front of us, who is trying to find a way past, and into the right-hander onto the Bentley straight we go for the first time. This is Slipstream City. This is where we see a lot of overtaking. Both he and Townsend run a little bit deep off the edge of the track, coming out onto the back straight. That will have hurt their momentum slightly onto this part of the circuit. Maybe will limit Colin's opportunities to get through. Carl Garnett there, having a go up the inside of Johnny Greensmith. That's one of the Paul Sheard racing cars that Johnny has got his hands on here this weekend. Car number 2. Already in the thick of the action for the top 10. Oh, George Grant there with a big lock-up, the series sponsor. That's Mark Home. I said he'd be one to watch for, number 100 car. And he is battling away there with car number 8, which is Andy Coombs, the orange machine behind him. 2 drivers who have been getting steadily better, it must be said, as the season's gone on. Will Sharp in the bright yellow car behind them, as they make their way through Coram for the first time. There's Simon Fleet. He's doing battle with Richard Wickland, who's been a bit anonymous of late, really. We haven't seen much of Richard, but good to see him getting stuck in the early stages of this one. And I just caught a glimpse just behind these 2, just there, look, the purple and grey car is Brian Chandler from near enough the back of the grid, 36th on the grid, and he's already making really good progress through the order. So it'll be interesting to see as we get towards the second half of the race exactly how high the order he's got. There goes Ben Short up the inside into turn 1. Making up, sorry, that wasn't Ben Short, excuse me, was it? That is the other similarly liveried car. There is Mike Comber. Now he's one of the drivers recovering from first lap skirmishes at that very corner after his contact, we assume, with James Blake Baldwin. We didn't quite catch it. Sharp there, and Andy Coombs has lost a place, I think, to the number 23 machine, hasn't he, as they went through to the start of the next lap. So unfortunately Andy just slipping down the order ever so slightly, and it's not been quite the weekend that he would have hoped for, I don't think, here at Snetterton. Still, everyone's got someone to play with, haven't they, in Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. It doesn't really matter whereabouts you are in the field, and Adam Bessel it was who got past Andy Coombs, and now Brian Chandler does the same down at Agostini. And you've got to be aware, as a driver who is racing in the midfield, if there are quick drivers coming from the back, you have to be aware of them, because they're going to be arriving pretty quickly, and it's often not really in your best interest to put up too much of a fight. This is a fight, though. This is the fight for second place, because the race leader, Luke Herbert, is already checking out. Look, this is much different to what we saw yesterday, where no one could really escape at the front, but because Tom Roach is having to defend quite hard here from Steve Roberts, it's allowing the race leader to pull a slight gap, isn't it? So early stages, I know, and we saw yesterday that Blake Baldwin pulled a decent gap at mid-race distance because of some squabbling behind, and was then caught. Well, will Luke Herbert be caught? We'll have to wait and see. If this lot work together, they might have a chance, but at the moment they're not, are they? So it's Roach in second, Roberts in third, Murphy is fourth, and Ben Short just a little bit behind them in fifth position, is trying to get himself on terms as well. Through Coram into Murray's. Oh, lots of curb use there by Tom Roach. He uses the big red sausage curb on the inside, which really unsettles the car, and usually will cost you momentum out onto the next straight. And has that been enough, maybe, to give Steve Roberts the initiative to get alongside? Yes, it has. Roberts to the outside line now, down towards Riches. It's very difficult, though, to go right around the outside here, because you're then back on the outside for the Wilson hairpin. Is he going to try it? Yes, he is. Brave stuff, this, from Steve Roberts against a Mazda MX-5 legend in Tom Roach, one of the most experienced drivers in the field. And Roberts may be showing a little bit of inexperience in Mazda MX-5 racing by going right round the outside and getting hung out to dry. He's still fighting, though, isn't he? Look, he can't quite keep alongside Roach, but it's now Ben Short who's alongside him, because somewhere in all of that, Liam Murphy lost out and forced to the back of the group. So Roach now second. I think Steve Roberts will just about hang on to third. Yes, he does, but it is now Ben Short into fifth place. Steve Roberts, of course, a multiple BMW Compact Cup champion, so he knows a lot about close quarters racing, but this is a little bit different, being Mazda MX-5s. The racing is even more frenetic, arguably, and Steve is acquitting himself really well, isn't he? Look, he's even got the knack of the paint trading down, hasn't he? Just tapping a bit of Morse code onto the tail of Tom Roach's car as they went through Agostini that time. Not enough to unsettle Tom Roach's car, but he's hoping to just sort of let Tom know that he's there, and that he has every intention of coming through. Back through Oggies they go, and onto the back straight very shortly. And Steve Roberts' very impressive performance this weekend. What he really needs is just 3 solid races. He's had all sorts of terrible luck, and Silverstone he qualified quite well, then got caught up in a first lap accident in race 1. Alton Park he qualified well and went off on the first lap as well, and then of course you spend the rest of the weekend trying to fight back from the issues in the first race. Well, here he had a podium in race 1 in third place, and now he's going for second look around the outside of Roach through Brundle. This is a veteran move, isn't it? He's got the inside line for Nelson, and he'll just show Tom Roach the edge of the road, gives him the hip and shoulder, 2 wheels on the dirt for the green machine, and Roberts goes through, and so does Ben Short. Now that is not good news. Oh, now a bit of contact with Liam Murphy as well between he and Tom Roach down towards Coram. Let's hope they all appear back in shot, but Roberts 3 into second, Short third. Roach does just about hang on to that 4th position, but with Luke Herbert leading the way, all of that work that Roach did in the first race to close down the championship lead is slowly being undone. He really needs to try and make some more progress in the remaining laps. Hello and welcome back to Snetterton. Race number 2 underway here for the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. We're into the second half of the race now, and we're watching Jack Harding dicing with Johnny Greensmith there in the red and blue car, not the car we're used to seeing Johnny racing in. Had issues with the car earlier on in the weekend, had to change before race 1, which sent him to the back of the grid for the first race. He worked his way from 38th on the grid to 13th position, and now is dicing away with Jack Harding, and also it would look like with No, he's not behind him. He's at the 56 car of Steve Roberts. So Steve had a moment somewhere whilst we've been away and dropped down the order. He has. So Steve Roberts, I don't know what has happened to Steve, but look, there is Luke Herbert. And Roberts, who was in second place, is no longer. It's Ben Short now in second. Liam Murphy is third. And Tom Roach is fourth. So I don't know what's happened to Steve Roberts, but he's now, what, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th? He's outside the top 10, certainly. So Steve with lots of work to do if he wants to get himself some more decent points. There he is, just heading through picture. So no, he's just inside the top 10, I beg your pardon, but he's certainly no longer in second place, is he? This is the fight for third. Murphy, Roach, Harding, Greensmith and Roberts. So he is still part of this train of cars in 7th position. But that is really unfortunate. We didn't see what happened to Steve, but let's see if he can work his way a bit further up the order. He's shown some really good overtaking in this race already. The move to get second place away from Roach earlier on was pretty spectacular. He'll have to pull off a few more, won't he, in the remainder of the race to get any further up the order. There's Jack Harding. He's not quite as far up the order as we're used to seeing him, really, is he? It's still top 5, but he's been winning races and scoring podiums fairly consistently this season. And here at Snetterton, things just not quite going his way. And the car is a bit battered as well, so he's been in the wars in this one. Bits of bodywork hanging off on the rear left. The front ends had a bit of a ding as well. Watching though Tom Roach here in 4th position now. He really could do with getting past Liam Murphy here, and if at all possible chasing after the black and orange car of Ben Short, because his championship rival Luke Herbert is leading the race. Those two were virtually tied on points coming into this second race of the day, and it looks almost certain that Roach is now going to lose ground to Herbert, and Herbert's going to extend his championship lead once more. But the question is, by how much can Tom Roach maybe work his way a little bit further up the order onto the podium? There's Sam Tatler, who's doing battle with the 192 car of Will Stacey, who's having a really, really good weekend here. Not that experienced in Mazda MX-5 SuperCup racing is Will, but he's doing really well here, chasing down Sam Tatler, who himself has been getting stronger as the season's gone on. So these are two of the up-and-coming stars, potentially, of the championship, and they're battling away now for a position just inside the top 10. They're running 8th and 9th at the moment, through Coram into the left-hander at Murray's, and you can see there that Will Stacey closes in quite significantly as they turn into the left-hander. Will started the first race in 15th, finished it in 15th as well, so consistent in the first race of the weekend. Leaders though going through on to their final lap of the race. Luke Herbert is looking good for a race victory. What is going to happen though for second place? That's the question, as they make their way now in towards Riches once again. There is a black and white warning flag being shown though, and we are being told that one of the drivers being given a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits is Tom Roach. Tom Roach in 3rd place there. The green car, things are about to go from bad to worse, because not only is he running down in 4th place on the road, but a 5-second time penalty, that's going to knock him down almost outside of the top 10, so that is real drama. Ben Short as well. Ben Short has been given, that's 58, has been given the time penalty as well as Mike Comber, beg your pardon, not 68, Ben Short. So Ben Short's okay in 2nd, but Mike Comber has been given a 5-second penalty as well, and so too, we believe, has car number 26, that's Duncan Harris, running a bit further down the order. So drivers running out over the edge of the curbs and over the white lines. Essentially, if you drive on anything green, you will be given a warning for exceeding the track limits. If that happens again, then you start getting time added onto your race, so 5, 10, 15 seconds, and then potentially a race exclusion. So 5 seconds is the penalty at the moment for, most significantly, Tom Roach, and that is going to drop him well down the order and do his championship hopes absolutely no good at all. Steve Roberts there in behind Johnny Greensmith. Neither of those two have really been able to make more progress. Johnny started 13th though, so he's had a good run up into the 6th position. At the moment, that's about to become 5th though, of course, with Tom Roach's penalty. So out towards the bomb hole for the final time comes Luke Herbert, and he is looking good not only for a race victory but to extend his championship lead. It's been a very, very nice Sunday morning drive this for Luke Herbert. He's had really no pressure since the end of the opening lap. He's pulled out a nice gap, he let everyone else fight for second, and unlike in race 1, he does not throw it all away with a grassy moment on the final lap. Luke Herbert out of the final corner, across the start finish line he is about to come. He will win race number 2 here of the weekend at Snetterton, and a vital victory it is too. Luke Herbert takes the checkered flag, hand out of the cockpit. He is very happy with that indeed. Ben Short will be 2nd, Liam Murphy 3rd, and Tom Roach, whilst he's 4th on the road, where is that 5-second penalty going to drop him down to? We'll wait till everyone else files through. I reckon, yes, 9th. 9th place then for Tom Roach is where he's going to be, and that is not really the way he wanted his Sunday morning to start. So Luke Herbert it is who takes the victory. 2nd place for Ben Short, 3rd Liam Murphy. Jack Harding is promoted to 4th with Johnny Greensmith 5th, Steve Roberts 6th, Sam Tatler 7th, Will Stacey is 8th, Tom Roach down to 9th, and Richard Wickland gets himself into the top 10. Colin Bysouth, Gary Townsend, Aidan Hills, Brian Chandler 14th from the back of the grid, that was a good drive from him, and Nick Dunn in 15th. Mike Comber was 18th despite that time penalty that we mentioned, and further back George Grant had a moment at some point, fell down to 30th place. We did lose a few from that one. Carl Garnett, Adam Bestley and McDonald, James Blake Baldwin didn't finish, Aldo Ritty was a non-starter, and Jake Bailey was excluded.
How on earth are you ever going to compare with that again? You'll never win a race like this by that much ever again, surely.
I think what we need, Jake, is you to come and serenade us with your guitar again. I think that worked a treat. Send me to sleep. No, it's a great win. Done Tom off the line. The hardest part of that race was going to be getting past Tom, and then he had new brake pads in. I noticed straight into the hairpin. He locked up, and then him and Steve Roberts were battling. I broke the toe, and then everyone started battling. And, once you break the toe around this track, if they start battling, you're gone. So but the car was faultless. The car was driving absolutely perfectly. Setup's brilliant. We've got the good sponsors: SRC Recycling, Chichester Watersports, ACT Tyres, and McEwan Wealth Management. So, we've had a good weekend this weekend, a party last night. So to start the day off like this, couldn't go any better.
Ben Short in 2nd position. I tell you what, that was a really nice break at exactly the right moment.
Yeah, well, I'm not even sure it was a break, really. I think there was quite a lot of luck involved. It all kicked off, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time, and the road opened up. But I don't think we've got the ultimate pace to keep up with Luke at the moment. So we'll go away and have a look at the car, and the guys at BS Motorsport might be able to give me that little bit more I need to contend with Luke in the next race with any luck.
Liam Murphy, that was a bit of an entertaining run to the podium.
Yeah, there was a lot of action in that one, wasn't there? So. Yeah, but after the weekend we've sort of had massive thanks to my dad and the boys at Blink last night for changing massive setup, so it's obviously paid off, so all the hard work's paid off, yeah.
Yeah, over the course of one evening you've turned this car from a bit of an average peddler into potentially a race winner later.
Well, yeah, hopefully next race we can go a couple higher, yeah.
Fantastic, great job Liam.
Cheers.
So cars are lining up on the grid then for race number 3 here at Snetterton, and as you can see the weather has taken a bit of a turn. It is possibly starting to spit with rain out there. Again, they start this one the way they finished the first race, so it's Herbert and Short row 1, Liam Murphy, Jack Harding row 2, Greensmith and Roberts row 3, Sam Tatler and Will Stacey impressive on the 4th row. Tom Roach work to do from row 5 alongside Richard Wickland, Colin Bysouth and Gary Townsend row 6, Aidan Hills and Brian Chandler row 7, Nick Dunn and David Henderson on the 8th row. Alec Livesley and Mike Comber make up row 9 with Simon Fleet and Mark Home rounding out the top 20, ahead of Simon Orange, Jeremy Crook, Alex King and Craig Denman on row 12. Greg Catton and Will Sharp on row 13, 14th row for Alex Miller and Andy Coombs, row 15 Jim Hart and George Grant, row 16 Duncan Harris and Oliver Bowen. Carl Garnett one to watch for from the 17th, as is Adam Bessel, Ian McDonald and James Blake Baldwin row 18, keep an eye on him, ahead of Aldo Ritty and Jake Bailey, who was excluded from race 2. So here we go. This is a really important race. Luke Herbert, if he could win this race and get a few more cars between himself and Tom Roach, that will give him a very healthy championship lead. Red lights are on. They go out now for the final time this weekend here at Snetterton. We're away and racing with the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. It looks like Ben Short has made a good enough start to get second, but it will once again be Luke Herbert who gets the run down towards the first corner, and he will hold on to the race lead. Short in second, then Murphy and Harding side by side for third. Mike Comber there, the red and white car who got spun at the first corner in race 2, gets through cleanly this time around. A few cars kicking up the dirt at the front of the field, but they are all pointing in the right direction, which is good news. Down towards the Wilson hairpin where there are plumes of tyre smoke as they arrive 3, 4 and 5 abreast, and out wide goes Jack Harding. Jack Harding out on the dirt, he loses 1, 2, 3, 4 places as a result. Through go Johnny Greensmith, Tom Roach, Sam Tatler and Steve Roberts. That was not what Jack Harding needed at the start of the race. So Herbert leads the way, windscreen wipers on, it's just a little bit damp and greasy, and that could make things interesting on this first lap of the race. Ben Short second, Liam Murphy third, Greensmith is fourth and Roach is fifth. So good start from Roach, he's already gained 4 spots. Sam Tatler, Steve Roberts, Jack Harding and Richard Wickland next in line. Running around the outside line there is Alec Livesley in the number 9 machine as they go through Agostini. We're on board with Colin Bysouth in car number 88. Down towards the left-hander at Hamilton's he goes. Started 11th, so he's just dropped a few places on the opening half lap as Colin. Still got that big crack down the middle of the windscreen, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him too much, does it? 3 woggies, and you can see it's psychological rain, isn't it? It's not full rain. It's not really enough to make a massive difference as far as grip levels are concerned, but it's just a distraction. It's there on the windscreen. It's enough to make the drivers unsure as to just how much grip they're going to have when they arrive at the next corner. Top 3 breaking away then. That is Herbert, Short and Murphy, but Tom Roach, look, he's already into 4th place now. He's ahead of Johnny Greensmith as Ben Shaw has a little look up the inside there for the race lead through Brundle and Nelson. And in these conditions, it's always really difficult for the race leader to know how hard to push, and so you tend to get this bunching up effect, don't you, where the leader's a bit slow as he tries to second guess the conditions. Everyone else can sort of gauge from them how quickly they can go, and so the cars behind definitely have an advantage at this early stage of the race. There's Brian Chandler, who's moving forward nicely. He's in behind the recovering Jack Harding. Richard Wickland there getting edged out wide. That's the 192 car of Will Stacey in the mix as well. Colin Bysouth, Mike Comber there as well, nose to tail, 88 and 58. Onto the pit straight they come again. By South just about in front. Richard Wickland and Will Stacey there side by side in front of him though. Richard Wickland to the outside line down towards Riches. He's going to be able to make that move stick. He squeezes Will Stacey over to the inside line. Oh, and chops aggressively across his nose and takes the place. Great racing early on here though in the final race of the weekend. Hello and welcome back. Race number 3 here at Snetterton, moving into the second half of the race now, and this is the fight just towards the back end of the top 10 for 5th place on back basically. Johnny Greensmith, Sam Tatler doing battle as they turn their way in towards Hamilton's once more. A really good weekend we've seen from Sam Tatler here at Snetterton, also from Johnny Greensmith really in adverse conditions to be honest, having to get used to a car that he'd never driven before, and really has got used to it fairly quickly. From the back of the grid to 13th in race 1, and then a solid finish in 5th in race 2, and he's trying to hang on to 5th place again now in the 3rd race. But look, at the back of this group is James Blake Baldwin. James Blake Baldwin, who started this race, I'll remind you, 36th after his retirement on the first lap in race 1. He's now moving himself ahead of Jack Harding on the run down towards the left-hander at Brundle, so it's been an absolutely phenomenal drive this from the reigning champion. Sam Tatler runs wide, so that's going to give another place now to James Blake Baldwin, isn't it? Because Roberts will also go through, so too will Blake Baldwin and Jack Harding, and Sam Tatler falls right to the back of that group now, and with dirt on his tyres as well. Oh, Blake Baldwin's not done yet. Look, he's up the inside now of Steve Roberts as they turn their way in towards Coram. So through the long right-hander in towards Nelson. Johnny Greaves squirming on the brakes, but James Blake Baldwin thoroughly impressed with his performance in this race. The outgoing champion, it would seem, after some exclusions and penalties earlier on this season. He's not inside the top 10 in the points, but he wants to really go out in style if he can and maybe build towards a championship challenge in 2018. Leading 4 go through. Tom Roach, by the way, has worked his way whilst we were away into 2nd position now, so he's limiting the damage being done by Luke Herbert. But Luke is still set, I think, to extend his championship lead. There goes James Blake Baldwin up the inside of Steve Roberts. And late on the brakes, he's got the inside line. Oh, car squirming under braking. He'll just ease Roberts a bit wide in the middle of the corner. And another place gain. 6th place now belongs to James Blake Baldwin. On board here with Colin Bysouth, closing right in on the car in front of us, which I think is the orange number 80 car of Aidan Hills. Down towards Palmer as they go again, and Colin Bysouth running really well here again in this race, having started 11th position. Aidan Hill started 13th though actually, so Aidan's doing even better in this one so far. There goes Tom Roach. Tom Roach turning his way through Hamilton's then in 2nd position. Liam Murphy is in behind him, but not too far behind the pair of them is Ben Shaw. Just catch a glimpse of him there. The black and orange number 68 machine is in 4th position, so he's just dropped down the order, having run 2nd earlier on. And Roach, conversely, has worked his way nicely through the field, but he's under all sorts of pressure now from Liam Murphy. Now, Tom would really rather not be battling with Liam. He'd rather they just work together and chased after the race leader, because that's who Roach's priority is. But Liam Murphy is going to go for this one. Round the outside he goes down towards Brundle and Nelson, and is he going to go right round the outside? It can be done, but no, not on this occasion. Liam Murphy, who always did go quite well when the conditions get a little bit damp and greasy, and he's showing that wet weather prowess again here in race 3 at Snetterton. Liam is third place in the points, just under 70 points off the championship leader coming into this race. So he's too far back really to make a difference in the championship himself, as in it doesn't really matter if he keeps beating Roach and Herbert. He would need them to have some sort of bad luck, so non-finishes, exclusions, penalties, something that means that they're not scoring points at all for him to get back in the championship equation. But it's not going to stop him going for the best result possible. So down towards Richards, he's still attacking. Look, Tom Roach has to defend to the inside line, throws it in to the very, very high speed first corner, does Tom. Oh, gets a bit of a slide on the exit of the corner, and Murphy sees an opportunity, gets himself to the outside line down towards the Wilson hairpin. Roach just tries to ease over to the middle of the road so as not to compromise his line through the corner too much, and he will hang on. But for Liam Murphy, he's in a really difficult position here because he's trying to attack for second place. He wants to go forwards, but all the time in his mirrors he can see Ben Short is there lingering, waiting to take advantage. So if Murphy goes for a move that doesn't work, rather than gaining the place, he'll probably lose it. And in fact now, look, Short is closer to him than he is to Roach, really. Down towards Agostini. Is Short going to have a go? No, he's not quite close enough to attack just yet. Further back, by the way, James Blake Baldwin is now into 5th place, so he's got himself to the head of that queue. And I think that Steve Roberts had also got through, hadn't he, past Johnny Greensmith. Let's see if we can see. Yes, there, the black car ahead of the red and blue. So Steve Roberts is now 6th, and Johnny Greensmith demoted to 7th, ahead of Jack Harding. So the fight for second place turning its way through Oggies. They're a bit more spaced out now on this, what we think will be the penultimate lap of the race. And Tom Roach still with the windscreen wipers working backwards and forwards intermittently, but I don't think it is raining anymore. It's still, though, a little bit slippery, clearly, because Ben Short, or possibly was just a bit over-enthusiastic with the loud pedal there. A big tail slide coming out onto the back straight, and that will lose him momentum all the way down to the next corner, which, as you can see, is a long, long way away. That's the battle going on further back for 6th place, and that's Johnny Greensmith going back up the inside of Steve Roberts there, trying to take the place away into Brundle and Nelson. We follow the leaders through instead, but we'll hopefully see in the background, it's still Roberts in front, so Roberts holding on to 6th place, but Luke Herbert is coming through to start his final lap very shortly. He is looking good for the race victory. A very similar race, this one, to what we saw in race 2, isn't it, from Luke? He got the start, he held the lead off the line, then just pulled a slight gap over the cars behind, broke the toe, and that's really crucial around here with the long slipstreaming straights here at Snetterton. If you can break the slipstream, if you can get sort of a 1 second gap or so over the cars behind, they can't get that slipstream from you, and then you can get your head down and hopefully pull off into some sort of a lead. So last lap board is out, the final lap begins here at Snetterton. It's been a cracking weekend of racing and a really significant one for the championship. It looks like Herbert's going to extend his championship lead. The question is by how much, because Tom Roach may not finish in second place. Liam Murphy is once more alongside him down towards the Wilson hairpin, but once more it's the outside line, so that's not really likely to work. He'll try and cut back to the late apex, but look what that did. That little bit of side-by-side running and defensive driving from Roach has brought Ben Short back onto Liam Murphy's tail. So up towards Palm as we go, just over half a lap to go, and is Murphy now going to have to turn his attention from attack to defence. Roach in second, Murphy third, Short is fourth, and well, James Blake Baldwin there in 5th place may just close in on this group before the end of the race down to the braking zone. Oh, Short's going for it up the inside of Murphy. Ben Short for 3rd place gets into the side of Liam Murphy. Murphy sideways, Murphy's off. Oh, Liam Murphy from a podium position on the grass, he almost catches the barriers as well, and what a shame for Liam. Oh no, he loses it again. Liam Murphy, in his enthusiasm and in his eagerness to get back on the road, spins the rear tyres and spins around again, and look at that, it's demoted him well outside the top 10. Oh, poor Liam Murphy. You've got to feel for him, haven't you? Because he will feel like he was assaulted a little bit there by Ben Short. Short sort of dived up the inside. They made a bit of contact. Murphy was sideways off onto the grass, and then as he rejoined, the grass is a bit damp after that rain shower we had, and he had no traction. Too eager with the right foot, and ended up spinning again. So that takes a bit of the pressure off Tom Roach, doesn't it, for the final half lap or so. Luke Herbert has the lead. That was never really in doubt, but Tom Roach now a bit more comfortable in second. And look, James Blake Baldwin is third. So as Ben Short got damage possibly from that contact, James Blake Baldwin, remarkably, from 36th on the grid, has inherited a podium position on the final lap. What a drive. Through Coram they go. He may even have a chance to challenge Roach before the end, because Roach is not going super quickly. Now, I think he should just about hang on. Luke Herbert, though, is going to come through to win another race here. He doesn't quite do 3 out of 3 this time, as he did last time out at Dalton Park, but a second place in race 1, a win in race 2, and now the checkered flag in race 3 for Luke Herbert. He extends his championship lead. Tom Roach is second, but I think the happiest man in the grid is James Blake Baldwin, 36th to 3rd. That is the drive of a champion, and what a shame he had those penalties earlier in the year that took him out of the championship equation for this season. Confirmation of the results after another dramatic round of the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. Herbert, Roach and Baldwin the podium finishers. Ben Short drops to 4th in the end with Steve Roberts 5th. Johnny Greensmith 6th, Jack Harding 7th. Sam Tatler dropped to 8th ahead of Mike Comber, and rounding out the top 10 was Brian Chandler. Then Aidan Hills, Colin Bysouth 12th with a good result. Liam Murphy rejoined in 13th at the end after his spin. And then a few drivers further back, Will Sharp there in 23rd. Adam Bestel is 26th, and retirements from that one, Jim Hart, Oliver Bowen and Aldo Ritty was unfortunately a non-starter. So what has that done to the championship? Well, there we have it. 4 points coming in, 13 points leaving, with Luke Herbert extending his championship lead over Tom Roach. Liam Murphy now 76 points adrift in 3rd, but he has pulled clear slightly of Greensmith and Harding in 4th and 5th.
Luke, I tell you what, this is a really significant weekend. Not only 1 win, but now 2. An amazing step forward in the championship fight.
Yeah, it's, I couldn't have asked for better. You know, it was a little bit tougher. Tom changed his engine because he was down on power, and it showed it. You know, he carved through the traffic so quick. So I had to up my game. And luckily, each lap I was doing was getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And Tom kept missing gears. You know, so when it's that close, you know, he misses 1 gear at the bottom of the straight, and he's lost my toe. So it just gives me the opportunity to get away. But yeah, fantastic weekend.
Well, Tom, that was a tough fight. He just about nailed you on that one, though, this time.
Yeah, but much better. I just got to say a huge thanks to Josh and the Blendini team, all the boys, and special thanks to Paul Sheard, who lent me an engine for that race, because the car was totally transformed. It felt good, you know. I mean, had a really good start, and probably just tried a little bit too hard. My tyres had gone at the end, so I was hanging on a little, but Luke drove really well, as he has done all year, but happy to be back up in second.
And of course, next time out at Anglesey, there'll be 3 tough races there, and it's still game on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's still a long way to go. It's and 3 races every weekend. It's so important to just keep finishing somewhere consistent and see what happens at the end.
James Blake Baldwin, I don't know if you know this, you've just passed 33 racing cars in that one race. That's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that couldn't have gone better, really, could it? Yeah, done an amazing. Well, we've had a really, really bad weekend, to be honest, but. Blink Motorsport have done an amazing job to set the car up, and they've worked really, really hard this weekend. So I'm really pleased. I mean, to pass that many cars and come to 3rd, and I just wish the race was another couple of laps.
They're going to have to give you the Lewis Hamilton Hard Charger Award at some point.
Well, yeah. But no, it's really pleased with that. Can't ask for more than that, really, can you?
Absolutely brilliant, mate. What a fantastic comeback. Good job.
Thank you.
So with wind and rain always with us here at Snetterton in the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup, we're hoping that at the next round of the championship, things will be better. However, we are heading to Anglesey.